Organic Pixie Danny, and welcome back to Gank Studios. Welcome back to another episode of Creator Chats. This time, we invited another Gank artist, specifically Sskait. Say hello.
Hello. Thanks for inviting me, Danny. It's so nice to be here.
Thank you for joining us and to share your success story and all your advice for especially newbies and aspiring artists as well. So there's a lot of questions I want to ask you, but before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's talk about what you do first. Can you tell us more about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, I'm AJ, and I studied engineering and worked as an engineering professional in a telco. And afterwards, I started shifting to drawing cute dogs and cute cats,
Dogs.
rain cloud, and the sun. And so, yeah, I basically shifted from engineering to arts. And my Filipino mom must be very proud of me.
I'm sure she is.
Yeah, but in Asia, you have to be an engineer, a doctor, architect. I chose to be an artist. And I
Mm.
think she was proud of me in some way. But yeah, we're here now. And right now, we're doing comics. I'm a comic creator here in the Philippines. I create daily content, stories, short series, and I think the people are liking my content now. they,
You think?
like
600,000 people.
they like hopefully they love my content, and I do English versions of my comics in Instagram. So in Facebook, it's in Filipino. Yeah, because most of my audience are Filipino.
That's a good point. At least you have an audience for both and you're catering to all kinds. That's really a
Yep.
good approach.
There were really people who's asking for an English version because there are some people who are studying Filipino as a foreigner, so it helped them learn some Filipino words. And
Yeah.
there are
They learn
some
from
words,
comics.
yeah, that's true. They learn through the comics, and they're messaging me, "Hey, I've hooked with your series. We're waiting for next. Thank you for creating these stories because I'm able to learn Filipino." And I've even met them in person, and I was like, "Wow, I met your person. You're a real person." I go, "Yeah, we love what you do," and it was so fun. It was so fun. It's like it's representing the community and helping foreigners then understand the Filipino culture through comics.
That's really cool to find out and discover. You mentioned something like being an engineer first, and I think this would inspire a lot of creators or aspiring creators because I know for a fact a lot of artists are still working full-time jobs, still do a 9 to 5, and then after that's when they do their art job, or content creation job. As for me, I was a teacher. I studied education. I still teach until now, but like, what made you take the leap of faith to do this full time?
I think the shortest answer would be the sense of fulfillment. I work as a project manager in a telco, so the hours that I have there could be 8 to 5, and sometimes it would go 8 to 8 because of the night shifts. When you have like a project live, or if you're going to live something in the network, you do it during the night. And while I was doing it, I was feeling the fulfillment, no, on doing the job as an engineer, no, as a project manager. But there was a time when I've been doing it for 5 years, and at the same time I'm doing Skate, the art comics that I'm doing, and I've been reading the comments, and some people would message me and say that, hey, whenever I read your comics, it makes me look forward to the next day. Hey, I'm struggling through something, but when I read your comics, I feel that I'm heard. I feel that I have someone who's experiencing the same story as me. And it feels really nice now as a creator that you're able to convey these messages to the people. And that's where the fulfillment starts to kick in. Na parang, hey, I'm feeling something different here. And it was a struggle to shift from the engineering life to art, because in Philippines, you have to be practical. You have to have that job to sustain your living. You have the utilities that you have to pay. And me, myself, I'm supporting my family as well. My mom and my dad, though my siblings are also supporting the family, and it was really a challenging, tough decision. No? But afterwards, doors will open, opportunities will open, and it brought me to where I am now. Here, talking with you.
Hooray! Yay! And you're here now on Gank. Hooray!
Yeah.
Awesome. So what do you think? Like, do you recommend, like, how would you know if it's a good idea for example, a different person, if it's a good idea to take that leap of faith also? What is there any sign?
Yeah. In my case, I was working an 8 to 5 job, and I can't just jump and take the next course and do art full time. I read this book, and it was Crushing It by Gary Vaynerchuk, and there was a part there that sometimes you can stage it. No, staging means that when you're doing your 8 to 5 job, you build your side hobby and your side business in parallel of what you're doing until it can sustain your living. If it flies off, then you can take the full jump. Some people would, do them in parallel because they're loving to do their 8 to 5 job and they also love to do their passion. That's the most practical way on taking or on deciding to jump to the next track if you stage it while you're doing your 8 to 5 job.
See, guys, you have to be practical. I like your advice.
Because I'm an engineer.
Okay, gonna need blueprints before making decisions.
Yeah, that's true. And always have some planning ahead of time. We take calculated risks. All of us are taking
Wow.
calculated risks.
Yeah. But yeah. I mean, it's so funny because some of the people I've interviewed before, I kind of ask the same questions like about burnout, but not necessarily the same topic every time. But what they always say is that, especially for those with 9 to 5 jobs, they're always tired. we're always exhausted. I know, right? Or for those who do quit their 9 to 5 jobs, now I'm working a 24-hour job. Hooray!
That's true.
Now I'm working 24/7. Hooray!
Totally agree. That's pretty common. It's really true. Doing your 8 to 5, it will give you some sort of burnout or stress now. And when you leave the job, you think you can do anything now. Now you're doing your stuff full time, your business full time, your hobby full time, and I thought I can rest, but no, it's just a different type of stress and different type of challenge. It's a different
Yeah.
suffering.
A different.
What's the suffering you'd like to take in your life?
Yeah, so choose your suffering. Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, if we're gonna suffer anyway, decide how you want to suffer.
Yeah, actually, I read it from a book as well. Yeah, that like all of us are suffering some way or another. I think it was like a Buddhist type of teaching. Like all of us are going through some sort of suffering, and it's on your decision what type of suffering you'd like to live on. Yeah, and it was like a counterintuitive way of living your life or thinking about life, and that's the truth. When I left my 8 to 5 job, I chose this type of suffering, and it's a fun suffering because it gives me some sort of fulfillment. Oh my god, am I masochist? I'm loving this suffering.
Depends. I mean, if it's a fulfilling suffering, right?
Fulfilling suffering, that's true.
Any job can have its pros and cons, but that's why you do what you enjoy doing anyway.
I totally agree.
Since we're talking about this art career and yeah, art, was this something you always wanted to do? Art?
Yeah. Maybe to share a story. When I was a kid, I was 4. I've always dreamt to become a comic artist because I was influenced by a lot of comic books. My mom would go to the wet market, and whenever she comes home, she has this 15 pesos funny comics every Saturday. And I read that every Saturday and look forward to the next Saturday that, oh, what's the next comic? What's the next comic? And there will be times as well that when my mom read the newspaper, there's a comic section, and my mom would be like, okay, I know what you want. She gets the comic page and give it to me, the comic section of the newspaper, and I'll be like, hey, I'm going to read the newspaper again with the comic section. And that's how I was inspired when I was a kid. Growing up in college, I entered the news publication in the LSU. It's a Filipino publication, and I was a comic artist there. And I was doing comics, and now it's really a blessing that I'm living my childhood dream, was living my life with art and comics, and I'm able to share and also inspire other kids as well. And it's like giving back to my 4-year-old self that once dreamt to become a comic artist and
Oh.
inspiring kids as well. That feels really nice. No?
I think that's really inspiring. That's a really inspiring story because I know, like, being around kids all the time as a teacher, I know that they have these, seemingly hard to reach ambitions, but they're actually possible. Like, I talk to people who have made their childhood dreams come true. So, like, just don't stop. But that doesn't mean that you should not graduate. I mean, for example, AJ over here, still, diba? I mean, engineer, but he also gets to be an artist.
In the Philippines, it's hard not to graduate. Maybe if you're in the US or in the Western countries, you can just finish high school and, you can still be successful in life. But in the Philippines, it's really hard because it's a basic minimum requirement to go to a good corporate job.
Mm.
Though there are people who haven't graduated who are successful in life, but it's very challenging. It's a very hard road to take, and there's a lot of grit. So in the Philippines, yeah, you have to study really, really, really hard.
Yeah, study hard, stay in school, kids.
And get those eye bags studying.
I mean, even if you won't practically use everything you learned in school in the real world, to be honest, it's always a good thing to like give your brain to invest in knowledge. It's never a bad thing. So, walang mawawala sa'yo. Sorry, Tagalog. Hi, editor.
But
Hi.
when I was in college, I've been hearing people saying to me na it's only the 10% of what you've learned that you're going to carry in your engineering course when you graduate. And me, I'm not even in engineering. I didn't carry anything, but I think it's a discipline that comes with it. No? Being an engineer, there's a lot of um, discipline that you have to do to finish tasks, and that's what I carried here on what I'm doing now. And also the friends that I have, the journey that I had, the experiences and the story that I had when I was in college, all of that I brought with me and carried it with me and helped me to where I am right now. So it's really the journey that's really interesting. So when you go to college, it's not all about academics. Go to org, enjoy the life, drink if you can. Enjoy. Just kidding. And, have fun.
PG. Okay, yeah, that's a really good point. You get a lot of life skills. You learn a lot of things that you wouldn't normally. There's no other way you'd experience it unless you just go through it. Okay, how did you develop your personal art style? I mean, you've always read comics since childhood, but how did you create your own?
I think all of the artists who's going to start drawing, they have their sources of inspiration. So it's normal that all artists, even me, I started copying art styles of the things that I'm reading. I remember, if Adventure Time, Rick and Morty, or the local Kiko Machine, Manic Sabrera, you'll have these influences. But as you progress, as you keep repeating and doing what you're doing, there will come to a point that you start to develop a certain kind of art style that when people see it's you, that it's uniquely you. So at the start, it's unintentional that you'll have inspiration from a lot of sources, but just continue to develop and progress, and you'll have and develop your own art style talaga. And even if you see the international comic artists, I've seen Shen Comics or Silent and Happiness Explosive. Their comics, their art style, it varies, and you see them progress their art style. But me, as a fan of those comics, I know that, oh, this is Shen Comics art. Oh, this is Sarah Anderson's art. I know their story. I know how they make the humor, and it's really, you see the authenticity of the writer, of the artist, to what they're doing.
Yeah, I think that's the key word. That's the right words you use, like influence. And you start with copying, not necessarily plagiarism. Don't take it the wrong way, guys. But every type of creator, even if you're, for example, a musician, like how I write songs, it's kind of obvious where you take influence from in the beginning. But eventually, you'll develop your own style, which means you should just keep doing it, keep practicing.
Is it your sources of inspiration is where you get your your style and it's the nearest sources, which is kung yung pinakamadaling I'm speaking in Tagalog, but yeah, which is the easiest, the accessible to you. That's where you get your art style talaga.
Talking about art styles, is it necessary to have a degree in art to pursue art? Or not really?
Apparently, in my case, I didn't have an art degree. I I started actually taking engineering because I asked my brother and my mother, oh, isino po Baboy or Paul Medina? I thought he was taking engineering. So, Paul Medina's an engineer. So, I want to be an engineer too. But I later find out that he's an architect. So I was like, oh, what? But I already took the engineering path. You don't have to have the degree of in art to do what you're doing right now. No. For me, it was experience. Talaga. It was experience. It was constant improving and learning and doing it. And it's where I learned how to make a story and how to draw. And I even searched online how to draw, figures and stuff. Everything can be learned online as well. So it's a great age for the how to learn things. You can just search it online or even in YouTube.
I think that's one of the biggest hindrances for newbies or people who want to start a creative career. Like, it's so daunting. For example, I don't even know this. I wasn't trained to do this properly, etc., etc. But sometimes experience is the best teacher. And sometimes you can take workshops, you can learn online. So at the end of the day, knowledge is still important, practice is still important. But the degree, it's okay if you take something entirely different.
That's true. That's true. I totally agree.
So, speaking of pursuing an art career, how would you start a career? If you were just to start today, like, what would your advice be to someone who wants to start a career today?
Just start it and upload it. That's it. And that's the hardest part of anything. To be honest, it's the hardest part to just start it and upload it. You would hear a lot of people, hey, I want to start a podcast. Hey, I want to be a fashion vlogger. Hey, I want to be a creator. Some will be like, hey, I want to resign. But they don't do it because it's the hardest thing because your brain is comfortable on what you're doing right now and it stops you from doing anything new. And that's why I always tell to my friends the hardest part is to start it. Once you had the action and the courage to actually start and do what you want to do, that's the hardest first step. And the next hardest second step is to make it consistent, like as a habit, as a schedule, like do it once a week or twice a week. That's the next second hardest step. And once you do those two, it will become a ripple effect. Doors will open, opportunities will come, people will see you, and the rest will be history. Until you start doing that one thing to just start it and upload it.
Beginning is always the hard part. Yeah. You mentioned something about just upload it. Just upload. So you do acknowledge you acknowledge that even artists or all kinds of artists need to have an online presence nowadays. How did you grow your following on social media?
Maybe just to add to that question, like, it depends if the artist is doing their art for their passion or they really want to be known. Because there are some people who's doing their passion as an outlet for their own feelings. They can just do it as a painting or not have it posted it online. So on this age naman, its online presence is very helpful, especially for artists and for everyone. And for me, to build an online presence, it started as me just drawing out of passion and posting it online because I love to draw comic and I want my friends to laugh at my comics because hey, do you like my humor? I I do that when I was in high school and college. I draw comics and give it to my friends and tell them, hey, this is funny, right? This is funny. And when I read my comics right now, it's not funny. It's but I just have it posted regularly and until you find that audience because you have to grow your audience to find your community, the people who shares your humor, my weird humor, and it's fun to have built that community who share the same humor as you. First is you, maybe the technical ones would be capitalize on one social media platform first. And then once you have that growing, then you start venturing to other platforms as well, Twitter, Instagram. For Sskait, it's Facebook, which is the main social media platform of Facebook. It's Facebook for Sskait, I mean.
All right, so that's Skate's secret. Was there a specific type of content or particular comic strip that blew up, which made your growth more fast? Was there one specific thing you made?
I think the very first blow up was with Man versus EPs. I think that was 2017 or 2018. It's a story of a man and a cockroach in his apartment or in his house, and they started fighting with in the Philippines. There's like a hugot culture. I'm not sure how you translate hugot in English. It's like
It's okay.
it's a hugot culture. Just search it online what hugot culture means, and it was really funny that time because it was really an authentic lash experience for me. I go up to my apartment and see that there's a cockroach in my apartment, and I'm afraid of cockroach. I can't kill a cockroach because the crunchiness it's aching me. I can't really kill it. What I did was just to maybe call help or my roommate. Hey, can you kill the cockroach for me? And it was a crazy experience in the apartment. So I thought, hey, maybe why not, make a comic out of this because it's really funny. So I drew a cockroach and a man battling each other, and I posted it, and it blew up. That time it got viral, and I tried doing sequence of that. Uh, round two, round three, and they're fighting each other, and it really blew up that time on the Man versus EPs. And I made a comic book out of it. And last 2022, I submitted that comic book to like a Filipino Reader's Choice Award, and it won last 2022 on the humor section, and it was like it was really funny that this absurd experience of mine, I just compiled it, and it made people happy.
It's funny to imagine pala actually because come to think of it, your experience with this cockroach, if it weren't for the APs, you wouldn't have won that award. Isn't that crazy to think about? But it's so relatable. Kasi,
Yeah, that's true. Like everything that I'm doing here, when I do my comics, it's because the name is Sskait. It means in Tagalog, it's siya, sila, kayo, ako, ikaw, tayo. It means it's a story of me, you, everyone around me, my friends, everyone surrounding me. It's a story of us. That's why it's really relatable that when you read a comic, you'd say like, hey, this is me, or hey, this is my friend. I should tag my friend because this is her, or something like that. And when I did the Man versus Cities, or even the comics I'm doing right now, it's an authentic reflection of me or my friends. And I think that's one of the, the greatest factor on making the Skates comics right now.
congratulations. 1 year late. And also, I mean, rest in peace to the EPs.
Rest in peace to the EPs. Hope you
Create art from your biggest fears, and
That's
you might
true.
explode as well.
I love that. I love that line. Create art from your greatest fears. That's true.
we're learning something here, guys.
Who are introverts, and you can see them creating comics about their introversion, of their greatest fears to go out and talk to people, or create comics about people calling them. I don't want people to call me. I love that line. Create stories from your greatest fear. That's a good.
It's like the hashtag literally me. You meme. Because relatable. So yeah, we talked about how beginning artists can start their career, or if you need a degree, we debunk that, and how you can actually succeed with a social media presence. Let's talk a little bit now about the platform, Gank. So if you guys don't know yet, Gank actually is a platform which allows all kinds of artists or content creators to earn from what they love doing. So I know you've been in Gank for quite some time now. What's your favorite feature and why do you keep using it?
Oh, donations. I love donations.
Ikaw, you're the only one so honest about that. Others have a disclaimer, not to sound greedy or whatever, but I really like the feature about that.
I'm
But
telling you,
you're like so straightforward,
I'm a practical engineer. The answer is donations. Because
practical.
in social media is awarding video creators. They pay you ad revenue creators. And me as a comic artist, I post static images. I don't earn from what I'm doing. From what I'm posting, I don't earn through that. I just earn through brand collaborations with brands. That's it. But when I do comics, I spent, 4 to 7 hours in making a comic. And I do that because it's something that's my passion and that's my purpose, and I'm happy doing that. And having the donations, the donations function in Gank, you know, uh, the OG fans of Skate were like, "Hey, at long last, there's a way that we can send as a fan to thank you for the things that you've been doing." And me, I'm happy to accept it because even since before, people were asking, "Hey, where can we donate? How can we help you?" And I can give them a platform because I can just give them a Gcash, I don't know, but there's like some kind of gray area doing that. That's why when Facebook to the stars function, so it looks nice. They're just sending straight Gcash to the video creators. On our case, as a static image creator in Gank, they can send Gank points. And right now, with Gank, when they do a commission, it's filtered. Like, here's the next thing that you need to do. The next thing you need to finish. Next commission. And I was like, yeah, it's organized. And I want it if it's organized because I'm not an organized person.
Yeah, that's a really good point because when you were talking about their commissions, I also believe that it's a big issue also for others that they have to check their DMs all the time. Well, the problem with DMs is that it could also have trolls. So if you want to detox from social media, but you also have customers in your DMs, that's kind of hard to segregate. But because of Gank and how it has everything in it, you have your shop for digital or physical goods, you have commissions, you have even the donation page. It's all in one convenient site, finally. And it was localized.
It's integrated with Gcash. That's a big help. On 2018, 2019, I was thinking, hey, how do I do that? The competitor of GAT, of course, the other biggest platforms like Coffee, Patreon, stuff like that, they're existing. And I was like, should I use this platform? However, it's not integrated to Gcash, and it's really hard for me to use it.
Yeah, what every time I ask creators, whether it's in an interview like this or in conventions or events, I always ask them, what's your favorite feature? They always tell me Gcash. Gank has Gcash. It's so convenient, not only for the creators, but also the supporters. Syempre, like, ano yun, gagawa pa sila ng PayPal just so that they can support you. It's not
That's
practical.
true. Totally agree. It's so helpful that they're able to integrate Gcash with Gap.
So, do you recommend Gank to other artists?
Of course, I tell my friends that, hey, we're on Gank, and if you're an artist, why not try Gank? You can do your commissions here as well.
Mm-mm.
I think there's other creator, see Drew from Flashbacks. I think he's using Gank as well, and that's really nice to see. Because if I'm not mistaken, when I started using Gank, there are not like a lot of artist creators in Gank. There are a lot of cosplayers doing Gank, and as an artist, it's like a few of us using Gank as a platform. But when I used Gank, it's actually pretty decent. It's really helpful for us. And I was like, hey, why is this not being not really in the platform? Because it just started for artists that time when I entered. No, it was really nice to see right now that people and even artists are starting to explore the usage of Gank. That is really helpful for us. It's really accessible.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, that's one of the main reasons why we started this podcast video series so that we can feature different kinds of artists. Because it's a common misconception that only cosplayers or gamers are the content creators on Gank, where in fact, any kind of creator, any kind of artist, whether you're a visual artist or maybe a musician, there's so many things you can do now with Gank. So it's so cool to see more and more join the platform. If it's okay to add, it's also cool that Gank also gives a lot of workshops and opportunities and collaborations with the community because I think it's really about that community building. You know, it's not just about okay, Janka, try to earn try to earn from your passion while we earn from you. No, it's really about helping out the community, and I have not seen that with any other platform. Last but not the least, do you have any upcoming projects or releases that we should look out for?
Oh, upcoming, I think, first is events. The biggest one, I think, I'm not sure when this episode will be uploaded, but June 2 to 4 is Conquest in SMX. So that's one of the biggest events. And I'll be flying to Cebu, Davao, and Iloilo by around July. So I'll be seeing you guys there in other side of the Philippines. And also, I'm working on the book 3. Right now, it will be multiserie for sure, book 3, but it's extending kasi the comics I'm writing is extending. I can't end it so fast because a lot of things are happening. And once I end the season 1, I'll be compiling it and create a book out of it. And people are looking for multiserie, and I'm like, okay, wait for me, wait. I'm enjoying multiserie so much. I can't like finish it. I got the guide, so I'm working on it.
All right, stay tuned for that as well as the events. If you guys are going, oh, by the way, Gank is going to Conquest also, so we'll see you there. Thank you so much. Would you give your followers a shout out?
Of course. Hey, thank you for supporting Sskait and my weird world of humor and the palong. The palong is with me right here by my side. Thank you for supporting the palong. Yeah, keep creating, keep inspiring, and keep commenting in the comment section. I will mingle with a lot of you in the comment section as well. Thank you very much.
All right. So we hope that you stay tuned for his content, his art, and events, and make sure you subscribe to Gank Studios so you stay tuned for more tips and interviews with creators like Sskait. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.